Dear students, let us begin the third part of the lesson, in which you will learn about the null and alternative hypothesis, need for alternative hypothesis in research, its relationship with the null hypothesis, one-tailed and two-tailed tests. Students, the researcher had constructed the research hypothesis for the research work earlier. Now, all of them need to be tested for their acceptability through testing of the hypothesis procedure. In this procedure, the first step is framing the null and the alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is always denoted by H0 and alternative hypothesis is always denoted by H1, and these two hypotheses are to be filled by the scholar researcher, and therefore given a line to make note of that point. Now, formation of null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is denoted by H0. The null hypothesis is a hypothesis of no difference, that is, there is no significant difference between the parameter and a specific value. It is a hypothesis of the status quo, that is, the treatment is not effective, that is, the same situation or same status continues, that is the meaning. It is a hypothesis that the researcher always wants to reject. It should be nullified. Further, the null hypothesis is a hypothesis of no difference. There is no significant difference between the parameter and a specific value. Therefore, here you can see there is no difference. Therefore, it is a hypothesis of no difference. It is a hypothesis of a status quo. That is, if a treatment is given, there is no change, there is no benefit, status quo. The same situation continues. For example, the treatment is not effective. When the treatment is not effective, that implies that the same status prevails. It is a hypothesis that the researcher always wants to reject. It should be nullified. It is an impartial hypothesis or neutral state hypothesis. Therefore, this hypothesis supports either one side or the other side, and this hypothesis of neutral stage, therefore, we are saying it as null hypothesis. Formation of alternative hypothesis. The directional hypothesis in a research. That means one is better than the other. When you compare, normally what we say, one is better than other. In the relationship hypothesis, we have to write down the alternative as variable x and y are related. In the case of model based hypothesis, the alternative hypothesis is the suggested model is not suitable. Note, in a practical situation, fix the research hypothesis and write down the other one accordingly. The researcher must give the hypothesis as null or alternative based on his research hypothesis. In case of no difference, first specify the null hypothesis and then specify the alternative hypothesis, which is complementing the null hypothesis. In the case of difference, first specify the alternative hypothesis and then specify the null hypothesis, which is complementing the alternative hypothesis. Specifying the alternative hypothesis is a must in a research work. Why? In case if H0 is rejected, the researcher cannot give any conclusion unless H1 is specified. If H0 is rejected, then H1 is accepted automatically. Now we are going to see the same concept in another way, one-tailed tests and two-tailed tests. There are three possibilities in the case of alternative hypothesis. One possibility is two-sided alternative, that is written as H1 colon mu naught equal to mu naught. Another alternative hypothesis is called right side, one side alternative, and that is written as H1 colon mu greater than mu naught. The third one is on the left side. This is an alternative hypothesis. Here the format is H1 colon mu less than mu naught. Based on the research hypothesis, the researcher has to select one from the above as an alternative hypothesis. Here three options of change. How this hypothesis comes? Three options are there. If mu 1 greater than mu naught, right tail test, that is the difference falls only on the right hand side of mu. The second case, mu is less than mu naught, that is called left tail test. What does it mean? It means that mu minus mu naught falls only on the left side of mu. The third one is mu is not equal to mu naught. It is called two-tailed test because mu minus mu naught take either positive value or negative value. Therefore, it can change in negative region as well as positive region. Therefore, it is called two-tailed test. Look at the situations and observe the change of parameter value. Effect due to change of college timings. Now, if you study the effect may be good or the effect may be bad. Therefore, the change occurs in both direction. Therefore, here we have to make use of two-tailed test. Effect of drug for fever. Suppose if you study this problem, already if a person has 1 or 2 degree Fahrenheit and he takes some medicine for that fever, then what we expect is the medicine must reduce the fever. Therefore, the value must be less, that is it must fall on the left side, and therefore, it is called one-tailed left test. Now, in the third situation, effect of a particular energy drink in increasing the height. Already he is having some height and he is taking energy drink. Because of that, what we expect is there must be an increasing in the height. Therefore, the value must be on the right side or positive side. Therefore, this is called one-tailed right test. Remarks: unless there are good reasons about the hypothesis, a two-tailed test should be postulated. Therefore, if you have no clear idea, definitely will follow one side, then always you fix two-sided alternative test. One-tailed tests are appropriate when a theoretical perspective based on previous research would suggest that the difference should occur on any one side, left or right. Therefore, if you have previous experience, then you can very well fix one-tail test. If you have no experience or no knowledge what will happen, whether positive or negative, then in that case you must go for two-tail test. Students, in this video, we have learned the details of research hypothesis, types of research hypothesis, and how to translate this research hypothesis into statistical hypothesis, namely null and alternative hypothesis. The other remaining steps to be scrupulously followed to get the solution for our research hypothesis. Let us meet in the next video. Thank you.